Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on these little bauble colours that you see right here. Gorgeous. They're similar colours, they're just made in different ways. Actually the colour combination chosen today was chosen by the lovely Nifty during one of our lives on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. We have a thing called Live Antics and one lucky subscriber gets to choose a colour combination of our next tutorial, and these are Nifty's colours right here, right now. Very, very gorgeous. All right, what you will need for that, thank you Nifty by the way, is some gorgeous yarn. Now I've got this chain sparkle yarn, tinsel yarn, whatever you want to call it, the gold, the white and the silver. Now they are different brands, but they are all a 3 weight or an 8 ply DK weight yarn. Okay, if you use a thicker yarn, your circles will come out a lot bigger. Just keep that in mind, yeah? And I use, I don't know, very minimals, 2 or 3 grams of the gold, less than a gram each of the other 2 colours for this one, and then just, you know, a bit more for the silver on this side and less for the gold and the white on this side, and so on. All right, so don't stress too much. It's a great stash buster, and these are actually 2 different size baubles, and you can't tell this is bigger than the other one, but it's the same pattern and fits both of them. So keep that in mind. I use the same colours for the little loops. I cut off the old loops and used the same colours for the loops. All right, and you will need a 4mm hook. You will need a pair of scissors. You will need 1 stitch marker, and you will need, well, I've got 2 sewing needles. You don't need 2. I changed to this one to sew the pieces together here because it doesn't split the yarn. Whereas if you are sewing your thread through, you need a pointier needle that can actually split the yarn. So I used this to weave in ends, and I used a blunt needle to sew the pieces together. But not necessary. You can just use 1 needle if you like. So I'm not going to hold you up anymore. Once again, I would like to thank Nifty for her beautiful colour combination in today's tutorial. And I'm just going to let you get started creating your gorgeous Christmas bauble. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, we're going to start off by using the gold. You can actually use your silver and go silver, white, gold, white and silver. I'm going to do it the opposite way around. Gold, white, silver, white, gold. All right, so I'm starting with my gold. If you want to do it the other way, that's fine too. And I'll help you throughout the tutorial with your colours. All right, first thing you do is grab the tail end of your yarn, pop it in front of 2 fingers, grab your working end, wrap it around your 2 fingers like so, forming a little X. You could wrap it around 3 fingers if you like. Pop your hook under the first loop, grab that back loop up and through, and you have 1, 1 and 2 in front. Separate your 2 ones like that, holding everything, change hands like so. And let me get a close-up for you. Gorgeous. And what we're going to do here is chain 1, and a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once. We're going to do it again, yarn over 2, and again yarn over 3. And that's classified as a double crochet in this round. Okay, so now what you're going to do is yarn over your hook. We're going to pop a double crochet US treble UK in that center. All right, yarn over hook in the center, going over 2 loops, pull a loop through like so, and you should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. You should have 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Before you continue, grab your stitch marker. Those 2 top loops right there, that's the stitch that you just created. Right beside it is the chain, the 3rd chain that you created. Pop your stitch marker in that 3rd chain and see how tight that is? That's how tight it's going to be at the end of the round when you go to put your hook in there. All right, so now you've classified the chain 3 as a double crochet, so now you've done 1 and 2 double crochets. We need 8 altogether. You can close it a little bit, not too much. All right, so we've done 2. Now we need to do another 6 more. Yarn over your hook into the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So there's your 3. And let's keep going. 4, 2, and 2. 5, 2, and 2. 6, 2, and 2. 7, 2, and 2. Last one. 8, 2, and 2. And to make sure that you have the right amount of stitches, you're counting these little V looking things. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one is, let me grab the loops out the way, right there, in there, which is the 8th. All right, so there's your 8 double crochets in the round. So what you want to do is pull that loop real tight and it closes your loop, yeah? Now what you're going to do, let's tighten that a little bit. You're going to slip stitch, like I said, and I'm not going to make it, it's probably too tight, but we'll try. And a slip stitch is just popping your hook into the stitch, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook, remove your stitch marker. And here what you're going to do, oops, I'll just pull that there. You're just going to pull up a loop, cut your work, because we are changing to the white, okay? And that's all colours. If you're using your silver centre, then you still need to change to your white, all right? So what you can do here, and this is a tip that I use often, when I'm changing colours, we'll close that centre a little bit. When I'm changing colours, I don't like to start in the same place that I cast off. I just go anywhere opposite, or even, 4 stitches before it, 3 stitches after, whatever it is that you want to do. So pop your white over your hook and just pull the loop through. Grab your little tail, pass it forward. We're going to lock that into place with a chain. So chain 1. And in that same stitch, we are doing a half double crochet US, half treble UK. So yarn over your hook into the same stitch you are in, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook. I think you can see it there, yep. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Don't lose your loop like I just did. And pop a stitch marker in that stitch right there. That is stitch number 1. Now remember, you have done 8 double crochets. So that is stitch number 1. You're going to chain 1. I'm going to drop the tail at the back. Normally I crochet over it, but I'm just going to drop it at the back for now. So chain 1, and you're going to do a half double crochet in the very next stitch. Now we are here, you want to go into the next V. You know that V I spoke of before? That's where you need to go into. All right, so you've got your yarn over your hook into that little V, pull a loop through like so, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops like so, chain 1, do it again in the next stitch. Half double crochet or half treble UK, chain 1. Half into the next, chain 1. All right, so we've come up to this knot. That can be a little tricky. Now this depends on how you want to do this, but initially you really should do your half double crochet in that actual stitch right there. Pass your little tail at the back and complete your half double crochet like so. Chain 1. Now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this can all be a little tricky here. So just count back 6, 7, 8. So you need to pop your next half double crochet there, not in all this tight area where the slip stitch is, but right into the next stitch. There, chain 1, into your next one, half double, chain 1, into your next one, half double, oops, chain 1. Don't forget to chain 1 on your last. Now, if you want to know if you've done it correct, count your half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you've got your chains in there as well. So you should have 8 half doubles and 8 chains all the way across. And then you slip stitch into the stitch, the tight stitch, with your stitch marker, pull a loop through like so, pull it through to the loop on your hook, pull up a loop, cut your work. All right, That row there was the only row that's tricky because it's half doubles and it's very tight. And you're going to find this will be happening. It'll curve a little bit. It should curve for it to be right. Now you need to use your silver. But if you're using the silver version, you need to use the gold right now. All right, so grab your next colour, which for me is the silver. So I've got my silver. And now once again, start in a spot where there are no tails. So just go in the middle of your cream, your white. Now what I want you to do though is not go into the stitch. I want you to go into a chain one space. Any chain one space you see, pop your hook in. And let me bring this out a bit. I just wanted to show you the chain one space. Yep. Pop your colour over your hook, whatever colour you're using, pull that colour through, pass your tail forward so that we can lock it into place with a chain. And you are chaining 1, 2, and 3. Pop a stitch marker in there. And in the same stitch, you're placing 1 double crochet. So yarn over your hook, into the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Let's pop your tail at the back. You can leave it there for now. Chain 1, skip your half double crochet, go into the next chain space with 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. Chain 1. You want to find that next chain space, yarn over your hook, and the chain space is over, and if you can have a careful look, right over your slip stitch there. And do your 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1. Continue in every chain space all the way across doing 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1. Into the next space, 2 double crochets. You are skipping your half double crochet from the previous round, doing 2 double crochets, chain 1 into every chain space. Yeah, it's such a simple pattern. It's repetitive. Once you get the first set done, the rest is easy. Just being careful not to collect any other tails here. Doing your 2 double crochets, chain 1. And the last one, 2 double crochets, chain 1. All right, if you were to count your stitches across, you would have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 double crochets and 8 chain spaces. All right, making sure you chained 1 here before you slip stitched to join, which is what we're going to do now. Slip stitch to join. Pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Remove your stitch marker, pull up a loop, cut your silver. All right, gorgeous. And that's the last time you're using your silver in this colour, or the last time you're using the gold in this colour. If you've done it other ways, it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong colour coordination. Just do what pleases your eyes. That's what I say. Now we're going to change right back to the white. Again, very simple. All you want to do once again is to find a spot where there's no tails, I reckon, there. And we're going into a chain space again. Pop your hook into the space. You can see the space more because we've got double crochets here. Pop your loop over your hook. Pull a loop through. Pass your yarn forward, your tail forward to lock it into place. Chain 1 and 2. Stitch marker in there. And if you can get it in, top 2 loops right there. All right. And in the same space, you're placing 2 half double crochets over the tail. That's half double crochet US, half treble UK. In the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, do another one in the same space. All right. And your chain 2 here will act as a third one. Just pass that tail at the back, chain 1, jump into the next space with 3 half double crochets. So in 1, 2, 3. chain 1. In the next space, 1, 2, 3, chain 1. All right. Whoops, I didn't pull my tail through before. I cut it, but I didn't pull it through. There you go. Now, what you're going to do when you come to the chain space, all you're going to do is start your half double, grab your tail, pass it at the back, and complete your half double. 1, 2, and 3. And that knot has been crocheted over. Chain 1 and continue doing your 3 half doubles and 1 chain in every space. Chain 1. And 3, making sure you are chaining 1 in between each set. Now, if you wanted to slow the recording down, there is a little settings down below where, or up the top, depending on what device you're using, and you'll be able to slow down there, all right? But in the meantime, for those of you who are up to date, you've got 3 half doubles or half treble UK in each space and then chain 1. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's 24 half double crochets and 8 chains in this round. All right. Once again, make sure you've chained 1 there, slip stitch to join. Yeah, let me take that stitch marker out. Don't do your stitches as tight as mine, guys. This is why we put stitch markers in to help with the slip stitching at the end of the round, but that didn't work for me. Anyway, there we go. Pull up a loop, cut your work. Once again, don't forget to pull the tail through like I did before. Grab your next colour. For me, it is the gold. If you are using the silver version, you are now up to this round in silver. And once again, here's where you've done 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, so you'll have 4 tails everywhere, okay? So just find one that's not so taily. Is that a word? Can I use that word? I'm going to go over to right here. And again, it doesn't matter. We're going to weave these ends in. Pop your hook in any chain space. Yarn over your hook. Pull through. Grab your tail, passing it forward to lock into place. Chain 1, 2, and 3. Stitch marker there. Hopefully I didn't do that one too tight. Loosen it up, yeah? All right, and you're doing 3 double crochets in that chain space. So hook over your tail with 1 double crochet. This is double crochet US, treble UK, 2 double crochets, and 3. And your chain 3 will act as your 4th one, okay? Tail at the back, chain 1, jump, skip over your half doubles, jump into your chain 1 space. And we're doing everything in the chain 1 space in this round. So you're doing 3 double crochet. Let's try that again. You're doing 4 double crochets in that space right there, like so. So you've got 4 here, 4 there, chain 1, do it again, all the way across. So 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and 4, chain 1, and do it again. Now what you want to do in the chain space again with the knot, hook in the space, pop your tail at the back, do your 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, chain 1. All right, so that's what you're going to do in this round, okay? What I'm going to do real quickly is pop this on fast. You can actually slow your video down if you like, but we're going to continue doing 4 double crochets in the chain 1 space. So it's 4 double crochets, chain 1, 4 double crochets, chain 1, making sure you're skipping your 3 half double crochets, all right? So jump into the next space with 4 double crochets. And then on the final set, we chain 1. Make sure you chain 1 on that final set, and you should have sets of 4 double crochets into each chain 1 space with a chain 1 in between each set. So you should now initially have 32 double crochets in the round and 8 chain 1 spaces. Well, actually, you've only got 7 because now we're going to make the 8th space by slip stitching into the stitch with your stitch marker, like so. Don't cut your thread because now we're going to do something totally different. We're changing our pattern. We're going to chain 1, and in that same stitch that you are in, where your little thread is coming out of, you're going to pop a single crochet US, double crochet UK. And that's popping your hook in. No yarn over, just pop your hook in, pull a loop through like so. 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops, single crochet US, double crochet UK, pop your stitch marker in there. And then you single crochet into the next 3 doubles. So hook into the little V, yeah. Pull a loop through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both. And then you do a 3rd one in the next one and a 4th one in your next one. When you get to your chain 1 space, you just do your single crochet over the actual chain 1. So you pop it into the space, pull a loop through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Easy, yeah? 1 into each of the next 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 into the next chain space. Simple round this. I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do that. It's a single crochet into your next 4 double crochets and a single crochet over your chain space, and so on all the way through until you get to your last 4. Do your last 4 single crochets. Wait for me there, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this round. Now I asked you, oh, so far away, I asked you to get to your last 4 half doubles, your last 4 doubles, sorry, and do your single crochet in each one of the 4 stitches. Now, not forgetting this actual chain space, we're placing a single crochet around the chain space, and then we are going to slip stitch to join and pull a loop through like so. If you were to count your stitches now, you should have 40 stitches in the round. All right. So what you want to do is pull up a loop. Now, this is your final round, but in this case, when we pull up a loop, we don't want to pull up a small loop. We want to pull up a big tail where you have 1, 2, and 3. Make it a little bit more like that. It's 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, and then you cut that bit there. That's just a rough guide on how much you would need to sew your 2 pieces together, but we're not up to that yet. Turn your work. I'm going to show you real quickly 2 threads on how to weave them in, and then you're going to do the rest off air, and then meet me back here once you're done. But first, let me show you that center thread. All right, now I've said this many times and I'll say it again. We're going to thread that needle first. Don't assume that you've done a magic ring or a magic circle or magic loop, whatever you want to call it, that this is not going to come undone. That can. If I gave that a tug now, right now, just for fun, it'll start loosening up. Imagine if you were to make a full blanket or anything and you didn't weave your thread in, you washed your blanket a few times, eventually that can open up. So give it a good tug, close it up. We're going to weave it in as well. So a lot of people say, you don't need to weave in. Yes, you do. There's a tip. It can come undone. It has too. And once again, I'll be doing, and I mentioned this in a past tutorial last week, I'll be doing a tip on how to fix your magic loop if it's come undone. So that's coming up very soon, a tutorial on that. In the meantime, grab your needle and go through. You're coming out of there, yeah, and go through some of the stitches on the opposite side, just a few of the stitches there. Check that you can't see the needle from the front. You can't. Pull that loop through. It will be tight. And that's that one done. And the reason I want to show you one more, it's the actual white of that little tiny stitch we have down here. Any one of the stitches, right? But this one here, because it's only 2 loops, yeah? So what I want you to do is actually find ways to weave this thread in. There are many ways. I would go through some of the stitches of the white that you are already in. Check the front, make sure you can't see the needle. Gorgeous. And if you want, which is what a lot of people do, and I've done it in the past, go up the stitch of the white and then go under that silver if you want. And then this tail can go on the opposite silver piece, all right? You don't have to do it this way. I'm just trying to make it easier for you because the stitching down here is very, very thin. And just go back in the opposite direction that you just came from, making sure you can't see the needle from the front and starting in a different stitch so you don't unravel what you just did, and you're done. All right, I'm not going to fuss anymore with the other threads. You're going to do those off air yourself. But before you do, what I want you to do is weave in those tails, except this one. Don't do the last one because we need that to sew our pieces together. So weave in all these other tails and do one more piece exactly the same. With that second piece, however, you can cut your tail short. You need one piece with a short tail and one with a really long tail. All right, so head off on your own. Do the second one exactly the same as you've done that first one. Meet me back here once you're done, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of our 2 pieces. All your ends should be weaved in except that last tail. If you haven't, we'll do that together. Now, I forgot to mention earlier that your bauble, it should make it around your bauble like from one tip right up to the top of the actual bauble itself. All right. If it doesn't, you may need to do another round of single crochet. That will actually tighten up your bauble, but don't stress, better tighter than loose. Yeah. The other thing I forgot to mention as well, if you wanted to increase more to make your bauble big before doing a single crochet round, you could have just kept increasing. Like there was your 2, there's your 3, there's your 4. You could have done a round with 5. But I think that this will fit this bauble and even the next size up if you give it a good stretch. If you had a smaller bauble, like a real tiny one, you could have finished on the silver round or even the cream round and then add the single crochet round in whatever colour you are using, the main colour. The main colour for me in this case is the gold. The main colour for this one was silver. And by the way, these 2 baubles are different size. This is a larger bauble. Okay, this is a tiny little bit smaller. They're using the same pattern, exactly the same pattern. All right, just heads up there. All right, so speaking of tails, were we speaking of tails? Yes, we were speaking of this last tail, which we weren't, but let's just say we were. Just for those of you who are new to crochet, just go ahead and weave in at the back of the stitch. I'll show you that in a minute. But if you are an experienced crocheter, what I want you to do is undo that last single crochet right there. I should say the last slip stitch, not so much the single. Actually, take that last single crochet undone for a minute. What you can do is do your single crochet like normal and pull that loop through. Just keep pulling it through like that. This will help you get rid of the knot. Now, I didn't do that in this one, and you can just see that knot a little bit there, all right? But with this way, you can't see the knot, or you won't see the knot, all right? So grab your needle, thread it, and there is your first stitch with your, that was your slip stitch, yeah? You want to go into the second stitch, or the second, yeah, we'll call it the second stitch for now. So you want to pop your needle in that space, if I can keep my hand steady. Pop it in the back of that loop. Sorry, I'll keep in frame there for you. Then go into the first stitch that you, or the last stitch you made, where your thread is coming out of. Pop your needle in the stitch and then find a back, right there, there's a little back loop, there it is. It's like a base loop. Pop your needle through that base loop, like so, and gently give it a tug. And what you want to do, so it looks like that chain 3 stitches that you've got there has got a space. I'm a little bit pedantic that that's going to come loose even if you weave it in. So what I'm going to do is go through the main stitch that you just did, right there. Go through the back of the whole stitch this time, like that. Go into that stitch, pull it through, go back into the other stitch. Where is it? Right there. A bit tricky to see, and pull that through. Now, only do this if you are a professional crocheter. If you are new to crochet, all I wanted you to do, your knot would have been here, is just go down into the back of your stitch. There's the top of your stitch. There's a little base loop at the back of your stitch, and this is everyone now, and just pull that tail through like so. All right, and then what you want to do is go right down into some stitches at the base. And once you've done it twice, all you need to do is cut that thread. Now that's the circle with your short tail. The one with your long tail should still be there. Now if you've cut that long tail by mistake, then just add a piece of thread to your needle. Now I'm going to change my sewing needle, and the reason is because when we do this part, we are actually going through our stitches. And I find a needle with a point really splits the stitch. The other needle I'm going to use is called a darning needle. I'm going to change that now. It's not necessary for you to change yours. There are 2 versions to a needle like this. It will either have a little flick like so, but more so that it's blunt. So find a needle that is blunt, that's not going to pin you, because it won't split your yarn if it's blunt, all right? If you don't have one of those, just use any needle, yeah? So what you want to do is grab the thread of your piece here and thread it. Simple as that, thread it. Now this is, and so you know, where your knot is, that is the right side of your work, the nice side. There's a bubbled edge side where we weaved in all those ends. That's the wrong side. We want the right side facing us with the first piece. And with your second piece, you want the wrong side. You actually want 2 wrong sides together. So you want the wrong side together like so. Now I would pop wherever you weaved in that tail. I don't know where it is. Look, it doesn't matter because we weaved it in nicely. I can't find it. Can you believe it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Any one of the stitches will do. Just pop it in anywhere. Yeah? If you like that, just pop it anywhere. You don't have to keep it together, but I just thought it would be good too. But anyway, never mind. All right, so we are here. What you want to do is go into the stitch that you are in and go into any stitch now because we can't find the other one, and it doesn't matter, yeah? Any stitch on the opposite side. So when I say that it doesn't split, if you had a normal sewing needle, that would actually split the thread sometimes. But we don't want to be splitting the thread. We want to go into the actual stitch for this part. So that's all you're doing. Pop your needle through and your thread through. All right, and from here, what you want to do, and we are actually here, you want to go into the very next stitch, and you can see it, it's after your knot, and you go into the very next stitch on the opposite side. I'm going to have to get you a close-up so you can see what I'm doing. It's a little bit difficult with the gold. It was a lot easier with the silver. I should have did the silver one, really. But there you go. There's your next stitch. Your thread is coming out of that stitch, so you want to go into your next one, and it's in that stitch there. You want to go into your next one there. And it's through both, like as if you were going into the stitch with your hook, yeah, through both the loops. All right, and that's pretty much basic what we're doing here. Now, ordinarily, we would be doing this over the bauble, but I think for the first half, you can actually do it without the bauble, and it's a lot easier, okay? So what I want you to do, grab your stitch marker and just put it in a stitch on the opposite side from where we're working, all right? And I want you to continue along the way, get to that opposite side. Meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Here I am halfway through. In actual fact, I'm kind of 3/4 of the way through. Just enough for me to grab the bauble and pop it in the actual gap, like so. Super easy, yeah? And you can just adjust the bauble as you go, okay? So that bauble really should sit right up to wherever you started from, yeah? And I've just already added my thread. It's not necessary for you to have done that. I've just did that anyway. And we are here, yeah? Let's get a nice close-up for this part so you can see what I'm doing. And it's easier to pop your fingers inside the bauble. Now, I'm already here, right there. I'm already here, so I've got to go into that very next stitch, go over to the other side. That's where I already am. And I want to go into the very next stitch right there. So once again, if that was a pin kind of a needle, it would never let me do that. It would be splitting my threads. So being the fact that it's blunt has helped me out a lot. If you struggle to do that, really stretch it like that and then continue. There are many ways that you can do this here. There are many ways. All right. That's why I said do the bauble later, because it's really awkward to do it beforehand. So I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do this forever. What I want you to do is do exactly that. Keep sewing your piece until you get to the last, I don't know, let's say 3 stitches. Once you get to the last 3 stitches or 4 stitches, wait for me there and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to get to your last, I don't know, 3 or 4 stitches. I think I'm only on my last 2 and I've over-exaggerated a little bit. I should have waited about over here, but just get to your last few stitches from there to there. You want to get as close to the actual top as you can. If yours has got one of those caps that come off, you can sew right up to the very top and then put the cap back on, but mine doesn't, okay? So I would, in my other bauble, I think I stopped earlier, but this one here is quite thin. So I'm going to go into the last stitch or the first stitch that I started with and go right back into it like that. Not necessary once again, but I thought since I could, I will, you know. With the other one, if I show you correctly here, see how it hasn't got that round thing on it? See, if I take that off, I would have only stopped here, and you can see where I've stopped. But with this one here, the round thing is not there. It's just a little tiny thing like that. All right, so now this is the easy bit, guys. All you're doing, and I'm going to change my needle for this. You're going to weave in this end. I'm going to change my needle because that one's a little thick. It's hard for me to weave in. So I am going to change my needle. You can use the same needle if it's easier for you. And just go through some of these stitches that you just created. Cut your thread. Now, if you're anything like me and you've already placed your thread there, lucky you. If not, and you've got one of these things right here, all you need to do is attach some thread to your piece, just a hand's worth, and even that's too much. Oh, we're not even in frame. Here we go. Excuse me, Mary. Just like a hand's worth, that's too much. Like this one here is the right size. I think that one is a little too much. But I might just chop it down to that. This could even be a little too small, okay? Depending on your tree. If your tree's got really wide branches, then you'll need a larger one. And I literally am going to bring that down to smaller. And if you want to bring it down to smaller because you've done it too big, all you need to do is simply what we did before with making knots. That's it. Just do that. And do it another time. Like so. And it just knots over your big knot there. Like that. And then just give it a cut. I mean, this is still too wide. It's still too big, but let's just pretend that's small enough. In fact, I think that's the right size and this one's a little too small. But it doesn't matter. It gives you options of how you want yours to be. And look at that. You now have 2 different colours if you like, or 2 different colour combinations. You could have used greens, whites, reds. So a very special thank you once again to Nifty, guys. Don't forget to join our lives if you want to be a part of Live Antics. Join our lives on Saturday mornings 10 a.m. We also have lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons. You can join that live as well. But Saturday mornings is when we do our Live Antics, where you, as a subscriber, gets to choose a colour combination of our very next tutorial. All right, thank you for joining me in creating the gorgeous bauble today. My name is Mary, this is Crochet Designs, and Merry Christmas. Ciao for now.